So I have a traveler's notebook spread for you today, and I have something super fun. So this video may end up being a little longer than my other videos because I'm going to do a little quick tutorial for you. So I decided that I wanted to work in and try to finish up my day in the life traveler's notebook before we have another day in the life, which is going to be November 2nd. And so I wanted to use this photo of my son making water balloons on our back porch. And he loves to do this, and our theme for this month over at the Scrapping Wonders blog is or the Scrapping Wonders design team, we are all making masculine layouts or boy photos. So I pulled out boys for it from Pink Fresh. I also pulled out a couple scraps from my stash because I want to create an interactive waterfall element on my page today. So let me give you some math measurements on this. That rectangular striped paper is cut at 3 3/4 by 6 3/4, and the long thin piece is 2 3/4 by 12. Now the long thin piece is going to get trimmed up quite a bit, but those are the two bigger pieces that we're going to use to create our waterfall. I also pulled a die cut from the die cut pack, and I cut apart one of the cut apart sheets to get those squares. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and measure out. I want that die cut piece to be the bottom of my waterfall. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Fiskars trimmer and my, I guess it's called a bone folder. I have quite a few of these. They came in with a couple different punch boards from We Are Memory Keepers. So I'm just going to make a score line there, and then I'm going to make a score line every 1/2 inch after that. And you'll see me do that in a second. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a score line every 1/2 inch after that first one. You can mark this with a pencil and then score it, which might actually be a little bit easier because you won't have to kind of do what I did, which is like just kind of follow the try to figure out where the score marks are. So then I'm just going to bend all the score marks together so that I know where they are. And I need one more. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up and do one more. I'm so sorry for my very fuzzy head. It is super humid and rainy while simultaneously being warm here in October. And my hair is just like, excuse me while I frizz. So yeah, not pleasant, but until the weather gets back to a more normal kind of weather, frizz. So now I'm going to go through my 6x6 pad, and I know that I want to use this rusty colored paper because it looks really, really well with my photo. And I'm going to use that at the bottom part of my waterfall background. So I'm going to cut it down, and here's some more measurements for you. I am going to cut it at 1 1/4 inch wide by 3 3/4 inches long. And so that's going to go down at the bottom and hold my little waterfall mechanism. Going to give everything a little fun inkiness with hickory smoke distressing to go with all of the gray that I have going on in this paper. So the two papers I chose for my base, that striped gray paper is from Cocoa Vanilla Studios. It's from the You Rock collection. And the long stripy paper is the backside of a paper from the Heidi kit by Felicity Jane. And I didn't buy any of the 12 by 12 sheets of paper from the Boys Fort collection. So I just went through my stash and found two pieces that would work with what I wanted to do. So I start out with a tape runner because I want to make sure that this is going to work and everything's going to, function the way it should function. But when I put it all together at the end, I do use my Scotch Quick Dry Tacky Glue. If you have red line tape, I would use red line tape, the strongest adhesive you have, to hold this mechanism together, because you want people to be able to use it and you want people to be able to have fun when they flip through your traveler's notebook. So on each of the score lines and at the bottom piece, I'm just attaching my little waterfall elements that I want to use to it. And then, ta-da! So I'm just checking for size, make sure I have everything the way that I want it. And now I'm just going to do a little bit of cosmetic work to it because I don't like that stripy paper that's on the other side of the gray. I want to back it with something else. So what I'm going to do is, here's the part where we're going to kind of trim up that long skinny sheet. So I'm going to grab the 6-inch rust paper. I'm going to attach it right there to the bottom of my long skinny sheet. And then I'm going to trim it off. I'm going to trim it down to the side, and then I'm going to trim off the end of the paper because we don't need that much. But sometimes, depending on how many elements you want on your waterfall, depending on how you want to set it up, sometimes you need that whole 12 inches. For this particular waterfall, we didn't need it, so I chose just to trim it down. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and adhere everything together. So we're going to put strong glue on the top. You're going to attach it, I'm just kind of checking it out. I'm making sure that it's going to be sturdy and it's going to work exactly the way that I want it. And so now I'm going to grab my Scotch adhesive glue and I'm going to attach it to the bottom. Unfortunately, my camera was nice enough to decide to flip, so I'm going to show you here where I attached it with the glue. And now it is done. So I'm going to put that on the right side of the page. I'm so glad this worked. I have made waterfall cards in the past, but I've never done a waterfall element like this in a traveler's notebook. And I have been finding that these kind of interactive things that you sometimes use for cards, if you're a card maker, they work really, really awesome in a traveler's notebook. So I've been taking some of the funner, more interactive cards I know how to make and doing them in some traveler's notebooks. The next one you're going to see is a Joyfold card. If you've never seen one of those, they're really cute, and I'm going to alter the idea of one to use it as a flip or a tip out into a traveler's notebook insert, but that's coming up later this month. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add my photo. I want to make sure that I have all of my colors that I'm going to use and all of my elements match right across the page. So originally I did want to just stick to this rust and gray and little pop of yellow, but when I start to do my title and my embellishing, I end up pulling in a couple other colors to this spread as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open up these, I'm going to grab some thickers from my stash first. These are foam thickers. I wanted to use those alphabet stickers, but they don't have numbers, and I needed numbers. So I went into my stash and I grabbed these black foam thickers. And I'm going to just use them. I used them at another spot in this book, so for continuity through the whole book, I figured it was a good time to go ahead and pull them out and use them again. And I'm going to use my T-square ruler. I'm just going to draw some lines with my Muji pen and add my journaling to this spread now. So now I'm going to use these little alphabet stickers. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that word just left me. To add my title, and the title's going to be a water balloon fun. And initially I wanted to use a die cut piece for the word fun, but it wasn't quite working, and I'm actually going to end up putting fun on this layout twice, but I just decided I was okay with it. As an alternative, I just wanted to say, for that waterfall element, if you cut photos down to 2x2 squares, that would make an amazing waterfall element. You could put the squares, you could put the photos there, pull them up. I didn't have photos handy, so I just went with it being more of a decorative element, but it would be really, really awesome with some little 2x2 photos that you could like flip through with that waterfall. That would be really, really cool. Probably I will do that at some point at a later date when I plan it a little better and I have the right size photos handy. to be able to do it. But for this one, I just decided, since it was the first time I was doing it and kind of altering it and seeing if it would work, yeah, I just did it to make it a more decorative element. But that's a really great idea. So I just thought I'd throw it out there. So I went ahead, I added that little fun title, and now I'm going through the Puffy stickers. The die cut pack from Boys Sport, it has a lot of different sizes, which makes it really nice, but it seemed like as I was flicking through it, everything that I wanted to use was too big. It does have small die cuts. It makes a very nice die cut pack for a traveler's notebook. It's just funny because it's like all the ones that said what I wanted it to say or I thought would work well with the colors, those were the ones that were too big to use. I hate when that happens. So I'm going to flick through this a couple times and kind of look at the Puffy stickers. I really like these Puffy stickers. They're lovely. I really enjoy all of the elements I was able to get from this collection. I don't have everything, but I have enough, and so that's all that matters. So yeah, I'm just going to go through. I decided I'm going to add some blue since I wanted to put that circle at the bottom. I'm going to go through, and again, I'm looking at these little word stickers, but nothing is appropriate or works well. So yeah, just moving on then through everything. I'm going through the 6x6 pad because I can't remember if Pink Fresh Studio is one that puts their if Pink Fresh Studio puts their cut-apart sheets, but I don't think they do. In fact, I don't even know if they do cut-apart sheets, really, but I'm just kind of looking to see, because I find that cut-apart sheets are awesome for these types of traveler's notebook spreads when they're in the 6x6 size. So instead of a cut-apart sheet, I'm opting to punch some circles, and I'm going to kind of place them all around my layout, ink them up, to mimic kind of the circle elements that I have going on the right, to get some of that over to the left as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut another little piece of that paper that I used to punch the circles. I'm going to put it on the other side. And so at this point in my layout is done. You could stop at any point here and decide that, you know, you want less embellishment, that you want more embellishment. Really, the only thing I'm looking at now is colors. I want both sides of this layout to look like they are cohesive and match and go together. And that isn't necessarily my strong suit. If you watch my 12x12 or 8.5x11 layouts, I never do double page spreads. The only time that I ever do them is in my traveler's notebook inserts. So I know I want everything to be cohesive on both sides, and I know that I want the colors to kind of match. And so, for example, right now, there's a lot of yellow on the right, but there's no yellow on the left. So I'm just looking for something that is yellow that I can put onto the left to finish that spread off. And I decide on just this one little triangle. It doesn't have to be a lot, just something. So it feels like the two sides go together. And sometimes I do struggle with that. I do much better with just one side and doing whatever I want and not worried about what the other side looks like. And that will complete this little tutorial and spread. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye!